Right, we're back again to move on to the last few steps of the build. 32 is the bag we're on for next for the rear hangers. Get the wishbones held in place. So what we've got here is the new rear strap, machined a bit lighter than the old one. There's definitely less material there. You can really feel it doesn't weigh much. There's the manual. Just double check where we're up on that. So yeah, the flat section goes to the bottom of the gearbox. So you'll have to pop it onto the little ball. The little balls on the end of the wishbones. Can be a little tricky to get them in and out again. Bit of wiggling required. There we go. Right, so they're held in place. And then these are screwed on, and we're using a 1 degree strap spacer. And this is the one we keep to one side. That's so if we're getting rid of the little what's it called, the spacer in front of the C block. We've got some washers here. Right, so what I like to do is I like to put the screws in, and then I'll show you what I do next. I don't put them all the way in. One sec. So with a bit of jiggery pokery, we've got them lined up. I think it's slightly easier to connect, put the ball connectors in and then put the whole wishbones and the rear strap on the car in one go. That's certainly when they're new anyway. Okay, so let's started screwing these in. So what I like to do, no thread lock required obviously because we're screwing into plastic. Right, so I've wound the screws in, and then there's a small gap here. What I like to do with the spacers is I get my sharp trimmers here. We're going to use a number 1 anti-squat shim, and we just trim him out there. And this is the way, that's the back of the car. What I like to do is I like to trim a slot here in the front of the spacer. So trim that little piece of plastic out there, both sides, and then you can just slide in and out without having to take the screws all the way out. So yep, there we go. So we get the car, and then we've got our spacer, and then that slots in here, and all you got to do is clamp those screws down, and that holds it in place. So you don't have to, if you want to change your anti-squat shim, put it in upside down, so the number 1 should be facing upwards. So again, so yeah, just tighten the screws down. It's pretty tight because fresh plastic. Okay, so that's all tightened down, and your strap spacers in, and then the wishbones move freely, which is an important part. You should always check when you're doing not just when you're doing a build, but when you're doing any work on a car, you need free suspension. Now I think it's time to put the rear links on. So which hole do we use as kit? Looks like it's the shortest one. So if you want to use shims, it comes supplied with some shims here, but we want maximum retraction at the moment, so we'll probably just go for a 1mm shim, and then if we need more we can take the shim out. So these go into the rear hanger here. Let's just find the other 1mm shim, and then I'll tighten these fully down in a second. This is the one part of the car where you'd probably want to change for an aluminium rear hanger, because if you get a big crash, that's going to be the first part that you're going to probably break. Okay, so I've tightened these down all the way, and now it's time to put the rear links in. So I'm going to pop the drive shafts into the ball diff out drives, spin them around until they slot in. That's good, and then we'll get the links, making sure I like to line them up the same all the way around the car. So start off with this one here. It should be able to just push down and pop it on. There we go. Same again here. Let's put into that. So hold that there. The car's really taking shape now. Right. Now they're done, we'll put the rear shocks on. Same again, just pop them on. Going to be tight because they're new. Okay, that is the chassis complete front and rear. So it's time for the battery tray and radio trays. The shocks all moving nice and free. Okay, let's see what's next. I would say it is a radio tray. So what we've got here, this requires a bit of super glue, in my opinion, just to hold those little alley spaces in. Okay, I do not need a lot of these bits. I really don't use. I don't use the aerial tube. Let's have a look at the double-sided tape. Well, this is improved from what they used to put in the kits. This is a decent stuff, so I'll definitely use that. Nice gel-based. Right, so what do we need here? Which way does the radio plate go around? It's either that way or that way. That looks like how it should go. So these are the motor screws. So keep them to one side. Motor screw and a washer. Generally don't use 3. You can do if you want, but we'll keep the spare one. Okay, so I'll lose one. We don't use an aerial, so I don't need a tube. Keep that in our spares box. And a grub screw for that, can go in the spares as well. And we've got 3. That goes with that screw there as well. So then we've got the 2 small screws for the radio plate and 2 washers. I like to glue those in. Let's find a bit of super glue. We'll start off by gluing them onto here and here. So I'll take this radio tray out and just a dab of glue around the hole. Stops the little alley washers coming loose. And where it's got a little recess, just drop it in the hole, push it in, leave that to set. Same again. Right, then drop that in there. I'm going to run that. Not sure if it tells us what the kit setting is. We could go middle of the road, I suppose. So we need a 1.5 driver. Keep a finger on the tray and then find your middle hole. If you want to go for the middle, line it up. And just spin it in finger tight for this stage. You can adjust it more later on, maybe use some thread lock. Can't hurt to have a little bit of thread lock on those, which I'll do at a later stage because I'll be mucking around putting radio gear in here and so on. Right, so that's that part complete. Moving on to step 34 now. This would be the battery hold downs, I believe. I'll keep the foam pad for when I adjust the car for my batteries, because all batteries are very slightly different. Going back to the manual, I'm going to move on to the next stage. And we follow the way that these locate. So the hooked area that goes this way, and we're going to run them all the way back to start with. So we know when we install the electrics that the motor wires are going to be long enough. So they slot down onto there. Now for the low batteries, batteries I use probably going to be these ones, which are, I'll check the dimensions of these if I've got a ruler somewhere. I mean, these are about 18mm, so they should just slot in there like that, and then only need the small the small washer. We'll see what we need in a minute. What I like to do is run a bit of foam either side, and then if there's some end float, we'll run some up against either side, and then if we need to double up, we can. But like I say, every manufacturer's batteries is slightly different, maybe only a couple of mil, some are more than a couple of mil different, so there's no set rule. So for this one we need one washer, and then there should be a 5.5 nut, and that's all you need to hold the clamps down, and then we need the adjustments put down on either side. The adjusters, you can see how much end float there is, quite a bit, so we're going to need quite a lot of foam padding for these batteries. Plenty of room if you've got bigger batteries. Okay, so that's in place. Now if you're just doing a dry fit, you get the tabs here, and you put them on top, and that's quite a good fit. So we should just need the very small spacer, and then the foam pad will bring it up to what we need. So we need the smallest screws, and there's a selection of screws here. So we've got a 20, a 16 and a 14. And there'll be 4 of each, because there's 4 adjusters. So just make sure you've got the right ones. That's 3, and I think that'd be 4 of that size. Yep. Okay, these are the 4 we need. So we'll take one of these, put the screw through, and it should be the smallest washer. I'm not sure if we need another washer as well. The metal washer. We should try it. So you can put that on there, the metal washer, and then the 1.5 plastic. Feels like it might be a bit loose with that for these batteries, even with a foam pad. I might be inclined to go for just the metal washer and then see how we feel. But I'll have a play and see how I get on. Right, so I ended up with just the one metal washer underneath the tabs. So I just tight enough so that they'll move, but with a bit of resistance. And then I've done a strip either side, and then a double strip on the end here to stop the end float and keep the battery terminals pushed over towards the side of the car a bit, so that when you've got the tabs over, then there's enough room for your connectors. I could probably squeeze another bit on this side if I wanted them to be a really snug fit, because there's still a little bit of end float there. So, but you don't want it really rigid. You want everything to flex a bit. But yeah, that's all gone together quite nicely. So yeah, let's just call it a night on that stage. I think pretty good so far.